Hey, hi, how we doing today? Hello,
Welcome to the
everyone.
Quiet Storm.
And we're back at it again with another live one question mark. I'm gonna be transparent with you folks. It is really, really early in the morning here for me. And it is early for JVL as well, who is guesting. Shocker. Oh my gosh, like I actually convinced him to help me out with Rampage while Adolfo is out living his best life on
I
assignment
only get up
elsewhere.
this early. I only get up this early in the morning for a few people, Mikey. So for you and our Bi-Conics audience is why I'm doing this. I mean, it's been less than 8 hours since we just talked to each other about ROH, which was amazing.
Lord have mercy. But yeah, JVL is guesting this week as he is going to be my partner in crime this week for AEW Rampage for Friday, August 25th. You know, me and
What do
Adolfo,
I know?
well, here's the thing. Me and Adolfo know that Rampage is probably on the bottom totem pole between all three AEW shows. And we understand that. Though we still have a great time with it. And sometimes Rampage surprises you, like last week. That opening match between Commander and Phoenix was like, I go out of your way to watch it. It is
Yeah,
probably the best
seriously.
Rampage match that we have gotten so far this year. And it's fine. Honestly, I knew what kind of show we were getting today. Well, for Rampage last night, because everybody, this was pre-taped, and this was
Mhm.
everybody that was still around before they flew out to All In, which is tomorrow. Lord, is going to be a long day for us tomorrow, but I'm excited.
This month is going to be like stacked for us, but don't miss any of our reviews. We're going to watch All In together tomorrow during the time we can, and then we're going to get together on the same day, at least three or four of us, and talk about All In. So the Biconics are getting better at this stuff day by day. We are putting everything together. And Mikey, it's been a while since I've watched Rampage. I did watch last week because based on your recommendations after I watched the review, and I'm actually happy that I got to watch this week as well because honestly, it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, and as enjoyable as it has it better. It's been more enjoyable this week than Dynamite. Like Dynamite was promo fest, as we talk about, and this was also part of promo fest, but it wasn't a promo fest. It was fighter fest. Like we actually had fighter fest going on.
Yeah, that was the thing that I was happy with. I'm like, y'all, you Fighter Fest normally in AEW is just like this is just like straight up matches. Everybody's fighting each other. Like there's some promos in between, but it's all about the wrestling.
And it's their SummerSlam, like basically is what it used to be.
Yeah, it's the end of summer, getting ready for all out, well, and all into, and then Grand Slam is a couple weeks after that too.
Yeah, they don't have weekly, monthly pay-per-views, but they definitely have monthly pay-per-views basically at AEW now, which is great for them. But honestly, the go-home shows have been hit or miss as we've seen month to month on this. And this again was pre-taped, was more of a hit, I believe. Not to spoil my reviews, but it was more of a hit than it was for Dynamite and anything else. But still, will not touch ROH. ROH was better this week. Go back and watch our review, which is up on the channel now. That was really great, and I had fun with that, Mikey. So where do we start? Where do we start with this?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, just really quickly, ROH was also so far my best show this week. Even Impact was kind of like normally I root for Impact, but it's the go home before emergence, and you try to get everyone else on and whatnot. I love the black hole that is Rampage because like half the time I was just like these matches kind of come out of nowhere and I'm okay with it. Like this opening match, we opened with an actual championship match. Orange Cassidy defending the AEW International title against Aaron Solo? Question mark.
Well,
Like
that's the thing. It's not weird to see Orange Cassidy defending in the opener of most shows. Dynamite,
no,
Rampage, Collision. He's done it
his
all there.
opponent on
But
the other hand, I was like
Aaron Solo, like, how did you get? Like, I'm glad to see you on our TV screens. Like, it's been a
same.
while, but you're a jobber to the stars. And you had Madison, Madison with him as well, who's singing down to the ring and waiting to see when she would get involved with this because she's around. And yeah, it was up and down, kind of clunky, but still, like, Solo's a good worker. It's really fun when he does get a chance to work. And this was basically the QT Marshall QTV Rampage because everyone from QTV was involved this week.
I'm still of the sentiment that, and Me and Adolfo have talked about this. The cleanup crew believes that Johnny TV needs to get as far away from QTV as fast as he can.
He needs to get out of that vortex right there. And honestly, him and Taya Valkyrie have to acknowledge each other on TV and start working together as like Los Luchadores or whatever they need to do. But I mean, honestly, give Johnny TV an international title match once he's out of QTV. That
Yeah,
would be a great match to watch. This was pretty back and forth, pretty it was a standard match. We did have Madison interfering quite a bit, and including what I didn't expect, which was the taking the boot off and showing off her white like striped socks that she's wearing underneath, so that Aaron Solo can try to use the boot to take out Orange Cassidy, who this basically meant he was like, extremely like hardy more than he is. Like he's supposed to be like damaged and not being able to do stuff, and a boot shot doesn't keep him down. A couple of different interference spots didn't keep him down. This was just kind of like a yep. Orange Cassidy's got to spin some wheels until he gets into his big match at All In, where he's going to get bloodied and knocked around.
and I think the person to take it, according to reports, it seems that Mox might take that title off of him.
Because he needs that title.
No, he
No, give it to
doesn't.
somebody farther down the card that needs it there. Give it to Hook.
Honestly, I I'm weirded out because it was pre-taped, but apparently Jack Perry and Hook are going to be fighting for that championship. I was
At
like,
All In, yeah.
yeah, I was
Even
just
though
like,
he's retiring the title on Collision tonight.
the news reports. You need to stop putting things out there before the shows air. Like, come on. I know it's
Well,
hard.
but I don't think it was in the news reports. They announced that as part of the card for All In. So this was
Yep.
AEW putting it out there and like throwing everything off. It's like you didn't announce your Collision card before you had the All In card set up there, and then you announce something that was supposed to happen on Dynamite. Now it's been moved and moved and moved because everyone's known about it.
Antonio Khan, like, what is happening? But this, honestly, I actually like this match, given the fact that this is, to date that I can remember, this is Aaron's biggest match that he has had in his AEW career.
Singles, especially because he's not working with
Exactly.
Camarado or anything else.
And I gotta say, he actually did really well.
I was not surprised so this is a little peek behind the curtain. When Mikey and I started the Bi-Conics, a couple of years before we got really into this stuff, I was the one watching Dark and Dark Elevation on YouTube all the time. So I'd see Aaron Solo all the time. I know what a worker he is and how smooth he can be in the ring. And it's just sad because he's got nothing else to work with in terms of character wise. But as a pure like talent and worker, he is one of the easiest hands that I've seen in the ring, and it was so nice to see it, like with the float over DVTs, with the Stun Dog Millionaires that were pulled off. He can sell almost as well as anybody you can think. Like it just was very fun to watch. It was a fun opening match.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, Orange Cassidy being the true workhorse champion, like he's had the most title defenses this year of any title, which is really sad.
He's a walking advertisement for Kinesio tape all over his back.
For reals. And I love that we always get a small piece of every match he does is like up, his body's taking more damage. It's literally, he's a fighting game character who refuses to go down to his final hit bar.
If we take it from the Fight Forever look and feel of it from the game itself, he's injuring himself in the workouts, he's injuring himself in the ring, and he's not going to the hospital. So he's just continuing to be injured. So it's not the smartest idea, but and then he's going to take. I honestly have to believe that after the All In match, if it's going to be as bad as we think it is, at All Out, he's going to lose his title. He's
Yeah.
got to lose it there.
Yeah, he has to. And honestly, I love Orange Cassidy's title reign, but I was like, he has more than earned to lose that title. Maybe take a break for a little bit.
Yeah. Be a little manager again for a while. Be out there with him, helping him out. But yeah, take some time or give me some vignettes of him like relaxing in the weirdest places, like on a park bench, or like sitting in the middle of a train station, just like being like and no words, nothing else, just him, just like thumb up, all that good stuff. I would love to see it.
Yeah, but of course, Orange Cassidy hits the beach break for the win, and your winner and still AEW International Champion is Orange Cassidy. Of course,
QTV is thrown off. They have no idea how to deal with this.
yeah, there's just like Aaron lost. Harley Cameron is like losing her gourd. I will say she's become less annoying as the weeks have gone on that she's been on my television screen. I was like, okay, you're supposed to be annoying. I'm like, I hate the character. I don't hate you though. You're cool. The actual person, you're
You're
cool. Just
you're
you're
doing the best you can with it, and you're actually giving your all, which you can tell as a performer. She's going as far as she can.
right. And I think my biggest like plus in this match too, and maybe I'm reading too much into it because I
You
have
are.
I probably am. But throughout this match, I was just like, I could see a lot of confidence behind Aaron now. He's like more confident in the ring, like he's more sure of himself, and working with Orange. I was just like you said, the way he sells is so good,
It is.
and
He
he's
just
more.
needs help with the character.
Yeah, I mean, they all need help with QTV characters because the only one who kind of has a character is QT himself. But even then, this
Oh,
TMZ ripoff thing is not the best.
Johnny TV is just himself,
Yeah,
basically. He's Johnny Mundo. He has not changed characters at all, so that's kind of a given. But yeah, QT is kind of the leader of this. And
I
speaking
love.
of him, we
Yeah,
then jumped to a promo pre-taped with Jim Ross, talking about the fact that both of us, I think, had forgotten this, that he won the AAA Latin American Championship, like at a AAA event, like
at Triple Mania.
Marshall. Yeah, won a title from AAA, and now taking it everywhere with him, which is
Great.
it's hysterical. And he talks to Jim about being, no one gave him the time of day, no one believed anything in him, no one in this company, like people are saying like he could never be a champion. I'm a champion now. I went and did it, and within a month of people really crapping on him, he's actually taken it so far. It's right. I mean, like he's one of the coaches down at the Nightmare Factory. He's definitely knows the business and knows what to do. But yeah, there's no confidence in him because he hasn't had a character that anyone's cared about.
Right. And it sucks too because I was like, I forgot he was AAA Latin American champion. And then I was like, hold up, wait a minute. So I had to do some quick research and I forgot. I'm like, wait a minute, I did watch this Triple Mania. How did I forget this? We
Because it's QT Marshall, you block it out. You don't
I think the
ever
other
remember things.
I think the other thing too is like New Japan. Like if it's not a weekly TV thing, I'm not gonna remember because but according to reports, AAA is looking to make it on television. And honestly, give me more luchador stuff. Me and Adolfo will like abandon everything if that becomes true. But yeah, QT's when the match that where he won that Latin American Championship at Triple Mania was awesome. I was so shocked that outside of Kenny versus Vikingo, the ambulance match between him and Penta was freaking awesome.
It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'll find that if you can, or at least clips from it. It's so good.
Right. But back to this match. Honestly, I'm glad that the Latin American Championship, the challenger is, well, actually of Latin descent. Um,
Yes.
my question is, I was just like, I haven't seen any reports. So I was just like, I love Gravity, but I'm like, they keep bringing up his brother. I'm like, speaking of your brother, where is Bandito?
Still injured. He's recovering. As far as we know, it's brought up a couple times. He's still not feeling the greatest, but yeah, he's around. I will say this also. QT Marshall, that is the way to get heat with this. Like, come out and speak in Spanish decently well for a gringo, but not the best. And then, like, but it sounds like you took like a phrase book from a 6-year-old, which is like hysterical. And then I felt bad for Gravity having to try to speak in English against him, and it didn't work as well as it probably could have. But that
Listen,
is a way to get
yep.
nuclear heat.
Listen,
Wearing
AEW.
the Mexican tights.
Yep. I'm like, listen, AEW, normally you do a pretty good job of adding subtitles or having translators for people to speak in their native language. I was like, I know this is Rampage and like most of your effort goes towards, well, it's supposed to go to Dynamite and Collision. But
Mm.
if Raw, if Raw this week gave subtitles to Shinsuke Nakamura for his promo, I know you guys can do it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
very easy.
it was a bizarre world, but
And this was
QT,
pre-taped too. You had time to generate subtitles. You didn't have to actually like worry about live on the air. Like
right?
you could have had them there, no problem.
QT Marshall's such a little shit. I love him.
But man, these two worked well together. It was something you would have seen on Triple Mania or something else. Like if Gravity is having banger after banger on ROH, on Rampage, on Dynamite,
Even when
it's
he
gonna
got
be a matter of
squashed by
time.
Joe a couple weeks ago on Collision, I was just like, that was
Oh my
beautiful.
god. It's a he's getting his licks in up here on American TV. He's doing his time. He's won a couple times on ROH because he's actually really really good. and I love the character of it, but I can't wait to see what he does. Like, get him a run, get him a run with the international championship, get him a run with one of the undercard belts. Like, have your luchadors actually go farther than this. And total sidebar here, and this is the gringo in me talking, Mikey, and feel free to go after me here. I
No.
had to explain, or I was trying to explain to my partner, because they're getting farther into this, and this is on a Rampage, and like Adolfo, I know it brings in his partner for Collision and Rampage. She's learning as well. But my partner was saying, like, I thought specifically, like, luchador meant you had to be wearing a mask. You had to be, that specific character. That's what luchador is. That's what lucha libre is. I'm like, no, luchadors can be, if I'm right, luchadors can either wear or not wear a mask. It's the style that they wrestle in. That's what the lucha libre is. And the mask is part of a character if you want to be that character, or that's passed down to you as that gimmick. But there are some luchadors that don't wear masks.
Right.
Escobar for one, but is that all in Mexico, or does everyone wear masks? I don't know. I'm ignorant to this.
Well, so okay. So I'll give two different perspectives and I'll use two different countries for reference.
Can you give it to me like Michael Cole, very white, and there? No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that, please.
No, absolutely not. Listen, the only one who gets a pass of trying to speak Spanish and talking in the native language. Professor's the only. Well, I mean, you get a pass because you're my friend, but Professor gets more of a
I'm
pass.
trying.
Professor is actually Mexican. He just doesn't look it because ginger whiteness. But we love you, Professor. I'll see you later for SmackDown.
Oh, Professor and I have discussed this, where like he's got the same problem I do, where for me, like I tan, like I'm have that stuff. I've been actually called Latin before, because I get that, and my grandmother always said that the Spanish left more than just boats on the shores during the invasion of England. So therefore we have a little bit in our there, but Professor's the other way. Like he's got some weird like Scottish blood running around in him somewhere, where it's just like the Scotch took a holiday to Mexico, and all of a sudden the Professor was born. I mean, look at his last name, Crosswaith. I mean, it's very, very anglicized. There's that there, but we do our best here, and we try to respect it. Like I try to pronounce the wrestlers' names as best I can, or at least like following Riccaboni and Caprice when they do it. So it's or that stuff. But please explain this. I'm sorry to go on the tangent, but I really this came up and I didn't know how to actually explain it. So I'm looking to you as more of an expert.
Well, it's early in the morning, but I did this over on SmackDown, but we're gonna put this segment here on Rampage now. Apparently, welcome to Mikey's Viva La Raza corner, where I talk about Latin things and everything.
Well, it's the Latin Championship. This is the perfect place to do it.
I know. I will say I am only of one voice and one opinion. I want to put the disclaimer that what I say should not be taken as a whole or generalized, because I know a little bit about Lucha Libre, but I know there are so many people out there who know more, and this is their life, and they sweat blood and tears for this thing.
They're sweating blood. Lucha Libre is about sweating blood.
In AAA, in AAA, man,
yeah,
listen.
But that's not good. Like, that's really bad for your body to sweat blood. Like, I can see bleeding and sweating, but like together, like out of the, who are the, John Moxley's a luchador? Like,
so it depends on who you talk to and who you ask, because over the years, Lucha Libre has always had a core staple of what their values and what the wrestlers believe in, but it just depends on country of origin and individual promotions and things like that. At the core of Lucha Libre, the two biggest things that are always the same across the board is that one, Lucha Libre style is usually fast, quick, high flying. It's like you're watching these wrestlers on crank. Like they had their, in the words of Alyssa Edwards, the drag queen, they had their go-go juice and are just like running around all over the place.
Right.
The other thing is that the mask is not just for show in the Lucha Libre, specifically in Mexico and in parts of Spain too. So a lot of the Lucha Libre in different Latin countries in North and South America, and the Spanish speaking countries in Europe and all that. And I will also put in Japan too, because there are Lucha Libre wrestlers in all over Japan too, but it's a little different. But the mask means everything. The mask is the identity. It is the soul. It is the ethos, pathos. It is like everything. So that's why when wrestlers get demasked, not only are they protecting their face, so sense of privacy, no, so we don't see what they actually look like under the mask, but when the mask gets ripped off, it's like they're being ripped of their entire being. That's why I had such a big problem with Claudio doing it. I was just like,
Yeah.
and again, because it's on Western television, it's a little bit different, and this is for an American audience, so not like the majority of people watching don't understand that, and that's why I was just like, ugh. But the point being is, those are really the two core values when it comes to lucha libre, and it just depends. Lucha libre style in American wrestling on American television, I hate to say it, and I love all the talent there. AEW does a better job of letting the style flourish as it is intended, but even they have their moments where it's very watered down.
I mean, look at this match right here. QT Marshall versus Gravity. Like this got farther along with it, and we've seen that with Omega and Vikingo and stuff like that in the past, and there's flourishes to it. But yeah, you're right. It's still very much made for a Western TV audience versus a live audience, which I know is a big thing for the Lucha Libre community, as well as is bringing in the community together. This was like a community bonding thing as much as everything else.
Well, on top of that, too, if you really want to make, if these American television companies like AEW, WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor,
Lucha Underground. Wait, no, never mind.
honestly, Lucha Underground is the closest thing, and I don't care what nobody says. Lucha Underground is the closest thing we got to actual like modern day lucha libre promotion in the Americas. Like that is the close. That is literally what AAA is. Is like those types of matches, those things we got. That is
It was a
what.
lucha telenovela.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing too. And this is a side tangent because we here at the Bi-Conics support women's wrestling. I want to.
Oh
There
yeah.
are so many female luchadors out there, and I want these American companies to start looking into them and bringing them in. There are so many good women, both masked and unmasked, in Mexico, in Spain. Shit, the women's wrestling for lucha libre in South America is awesome as well. I was just like,
If you haven't watched, and so again, we're tangenting real hard on this, but I think this is like we want to. You're an educator. We want to educate our audience on certain things like this. We've had a couple. I mean, Lady Frost is one of them right now, who's up in ROH. That's kind of showing sort of the style there. But if you haven't had a chance to seek out some Stardom matches, because they brought Lucha Libre female wrestlers over to fight the Joshi ones, and that clash of styles
so good.
is intense and so much fun to watch. Like seeing Maki Ito in AAA was insane. Like she is seeing that
Maki
clash styles
Ito.
there too.
Maki Ito is killing it on the deathcore scene, like with her and Nick
So
Gage and GCW. Like they are the tag team I didn't know I wanted until I got it.
we need Maki Ito to come and do an ROH run and like go after Athena, go after like again tangentize, but thank you, Mikey, for bringing this up. Thank you for going there with me and that stuff. So to get back to my original point here, the question had been though, is there a sect of luchadors that don't wear the mask? Or I know that once they lose their mask, if they continue to wrestle, if they're allowed to, then they don't wear it because once you lose the mask, you lose your everything forever. You have to start doing something else. But
So it depends. So like it's weird because if I'm remembering this correctly, I think Penta lost a mask versus mask match at this original Triple Mania, but he's still wearing his. It's just for AAA, he can't. He's like he can't wear that particular mask and everything.
oh yeah, well, that was like when Ray lost his in
Yeah,
WCW, right? Where he could still wear it when he was in
he just
Mexico
couldn't
because
wear that one.
he was
Yep.
Rey Mysterio there instead of Rey Mysterio Jr. Rey Mysterio Jr. died that day, and
It's weird because it depends because like Andrade when he went to NXT, he never really lost his mask, but WWE told him he couldn't wear it, and I was just
yeah.
like, why? I was like, rude. I was like,
Well, you've also got the jerk of all jerks, Alberto Del Rio, who came from a famous family of luchadors, never wore a mask in WWE. I don't know if he wore one down in down in Mexico. I don't think he did.
and that's the other thing. Sometimes the wrestlers choose not to wear the mask when they're lucha libre style, which is totally okay. Lucha libre is one of the few styles of wrestling like outside of if you wear the mask, you have to be devoted to it, and you cannot like every in public you always have to wear it, and that keep that secrecy, but they're not as stringent about the rules. It just depends, because like I said, the culture of lucha libre as a whole is so different, like within the actual meccas of where it's at: Mexico, South America, Spain, Japan to a certain extent. And then it's weird, and this goes for all styles of wrestling that is not in the United States, when these foreign wrestlers, and I hate using that term, but our international wrestlers come and sign to American companies, it gets so watered down. And I was like, listen, I know you have to cater to the majority of America, but come on.
I will say this in both ways. One, Mikey, so what you're saying here, if I can sum up a bit, is that it's not just one style and it's not just a typical thing, because like everything in the world, there are shades of everything there. Just like American style wrestling has shades of what it is. There's technical, there's death match style, there's like all that stuff. So we really, when we look at these things, we have to be cognizant as human beings, like this is more than just a simple set of these are flippy dippy dudes who do flippy dippy things. Like that's not what it is. At the same time, I can see bringing them into an American style when you bring them on TV. I think one of the reasons that the luchadors, some of them like it a lot more, is that lucha libre style, from what I've seen, when you see it in its or origin points, is very, it's snug, it's tough, it's really hard on the body, and so it takes a lot out of you. Whereas they learn the American style, like Randy Orton always said, whereas our careers are longer because we take care of ourselves better in certain ways. So they get to slow down and do things like, except for Vikingo, who's trying to basically take his head off with the apron of rings everywhere. But in general, this has been very informative to me that basically it's much more complex than people give it credit for whenever you're introduced to it in an American sense, because in general, Americans, we don't take in the complexities of everything else because it's all about us, which is very sad to say, but it's true. And thank you, Mikey, for expanding my horizons on this and our lovely audience. This will be cut out. We're never going to talk about it again because we don't want this review to go too long. But I appreciate wholeheartedly that you schooled me on this, because I'm always curious. I
Nah,
know
forget this.
you're
We're
always curious
we're
too.
keeping it in because we have to educate the kids in some manner. And honestly, we have a little bit of leeway because of the fact that Rampage is only an hour of wrestling. But back to the match itself, that kind of inspired this talk. QT picks
QT
up the
Marshall wins.
yeah, he wins with the dirt sheet driver to retain the title.
I am so happy he keeps this title here, though. Like, as much as I would have loved to see Gravity take it from him quickly, him on a heel run with this will be hysterical.
Honestly, and like, as long as he words the words carefully, I would love for him to challenge every Latin superstar at AEW and Ring of Honor. It's if he wants to do that too. Like, challenge everybody.
Honestly, if we wanted to get like a legend in there too, it'd be hysterical to have him take on Chris Jericho for it, because
Oh
Jericho is
my.
known for like his career starting down there. So like, like I'm gonna save this. It's the white savior from Canada trying to save the Latin title
It
from
would
the
be
guy from Jersey.
it
It'd
would
be
be
so terrible.
it would be so terrible, so problematic, but I'm kind of here for it.
Luchasaurus wins the German Latin title.
I mean, I'm still amazed that Luchasaurus is a doctor of history and he's also wrestling.
He's, well, I mean, you can be anything you want to be in AEW. You can be a dentist and not be Isaac Yankem. You can be a professor of PhD in history. You can be anything you want. But there's a reason I bring up Luchasaurus, because we finished this QT Marshall match. Gravity did amazing against him, but it was never going to be anything there. And we move on to the actual TNT champion in a squash match. And as he comes out, people are chanting,
Jesse,
"Where's
where's
your
your
title?"
title? This popped me so much. I was just like, AEW audience, you're always hit or miss, but you rocked it on Rampage.
Yeah, they were into it. I think this was taped the same night as like ROH 2 weeks ago, and they were really really into that stuff. But we got a Luchasaurus match, and we got him squashing local talent as best he could without Christian Cage there. And I was worried. Like, I'm watching him move around on the ramp and stuff. I don't know if he's fully healed from whatever was going on with him. He seems like he's having trouble walking well. So because you're not seeing the tail whip kick or anything else anymore, he's gone to more power offense. I'm wondering if he's going to be able to do the lucha stuff that he's got, or whether he's just going to be this big monster now, is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I hope that Luchasaurus, I mean, he really hasn't wrestled because he's slowly recuperating from injuries and things like that. I will say, even though it was a squash match, I'm happy to see my boy get back in the ring because I love me some Luchasaurus. I know he's a heel character, but he will forever be my video game Doctor of History person that I fell in love with
Oh my
as
gosh.
in and out of the ring. And of course, Christian Cage is just on a whole nother level of shit. And I'm just like him just watching backstage, he's like, yeah, like Mr. Burns meme, yes, good.
But also, big props to Christian watching a TV the normal way instead of
Yes.
sideways,
Yes.
like watching straight on with the title there.
Because Dynamite still has that issue. I was like, if we're gonna do that, I want everybody to be like Big E and just make it over the top. That Big E is the best person when it comes to acknowledging this is stupid, but I got to do it anyways. He's eating
Right.
pancakes. He's like taking notes.
So good.
I miss Big E on wrestling. I'm hoping he has a recovery, but I
Get him in
mean,
the commentary booth. Get him producing right now. Do what you're doing with Bobby Roode and keep him there. But either way, there are so many people that are still stuck out there that are injured that we want them to come back soon. And especially after losing some huge people this week, it's been very tough to see people that you're reminded how hard this is. Like it's just, and how much it takes out of you, which we also saw in the next match of the night too, because this was interesting to say the least.
we get to the main event of Rampage. Mark Henry, I love you so much. It's time for the
Time for the
main
main
event.
event.
We have the Outcasts, which are being represented by Tony Storm and Saraya. Everybody says it different. I'm just saying Saraya versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and your AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida. So this was obviously we knew what they were doing. This is a little preview of what we're gonna get. The only women's match at All In,
I
and
know.
all four
Again,
all four participants in that match are here. And I will say though, we did have a
yeah,
run in from somebody who's not on the All In card. How dare
who
you?
has a championship that could be defended.
Right? But
But that was one of the best run-ins I've seen. Like I loved that.
literally, Chris D'Angelo, like fireman carries Ruby to the back. I was
And
just
Ruby's just going like that. Yeah. So what it is Chris Statlander comes in after Ruby Soho has been getting involved a lot and beating up Britt Baker on the outside. Hits Ruby a couple times. Fireman carries Ruby on her shoulders and takes her up the ramp, kicking and screaming, and just drags her out there.
literally
Saraya's like, "What the heck? Bring her back here! What's going on?"
literally, it's like mommy Chris Lander taking her child who's throwing a tantrum to the back and be like, "We're turning this car around right now."
So good. This match was mostly Britt Baker taking a lot of offense and getting beat up, keeping Sheeta on the side there for the hot tag, which finally ended up happening, and Sheeta went nuts. The two of the Outcasts working well together as we knew they would, but obviously a couple teases here and there, especially once they got the belt away from Sheeta to like tick her off. Like they're looking at each other, they're getting there. The ending, while I saw it coming, kind of didn't need it. Like they hadn't been using the spray paint for the last couple of weeks, and it was kind of nice. They're actually beating people with something other than spray paint.
Which also makes me worry too, because with the spray paint, the one to end up getting the win for their team is Saraya. And she hit, she she pins Britt for it, which now makes me worried. I'm like, oh, I was like, so are you, Rampage? Are you telling me that Saraya's not going to take this title?
Well, because that's what I had thought. Like, she's going to get the pop. If they were going to give it to one of the Outcasts,
And
it
if
probably
Britt,
should be her.
yeah, and then Britt got pinned. I'm like, please don't give the title to Britt. I love her, but no, please no.
I don't think she is keeping it. I think the thought might have been to give it to Saraya at some point, but again, she's still working where like they're still tentative with her. So putting her on a schedule where she would have to work the only match on everything like that going forward, I don't know if she's in that kind of role that she needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's in this match to get the pop from the hometown pop. I wonder if Tony Storm's going to come away with this, but this breaks the Outcasts because it's going to be
It
something
has
to
to.
do with like there's going to be like a miscommunication or something that's going to end up doing it for them, or she continues to keep it because obviously that's a thing we can do too.
So, we'll talk about this in a little bit because, like I told you yesterday, I have you here, so I'm going to use every single minute that I can out of you. But we'll briefly pick our picks for All In because we'll talk about all that. But overall, Rampage was there. I had fun with it. The main event was a little chaotic, but at least I knew who was in the match all the time. I was just like, because normally these big chaotic tag matches are like all over the place. But if I had to give my rating, I give this a solid 7 out of 10. I enjoyed myself, and I knew that it wasn't going to be anything crazy, especially since this was pre-taped, and
Right.
the majority of the talent had left for London, so should be a fun time.
It's a fun time. I will give this I would have given this a 6 out of 10 minis in general. That would have been my rating for it. But again, because this is Rampage, just like Dynamite and Collision and everything else, and the way that they book the women's matches, you get a half mini off, Tony Khan. Because yeah, I know it's a shorter card. You could have had another women. You could have had something setting up a new match. Honestly, if they'd set up another match for Chris Statler and Ruby Soho at All In,
That'd be
then
amazing.
I would have like taken that back a little bit. But no, it's fat 5.5 out of 10.
I think we might actually get that match at All Out because last week Ruby was teasing this too, so we'll see.
Well, they're having the match at Collision is
Uh,
what had been brought
oh
up.
yeah, never
They're
mind.
having it on Collision
No, put it on a freaking pay per view,
pay per
Ruby.
view.
Listen, Tony and Saraya are getting screen time. Like Ruby is once again being the third wheel in a faction. Anyways, all right. So now that we're done with the Rampage review, since we're
We're gonna
literally
say goodbye, or
no, we're gonna. You are here, like I did with the professor. We are tomorrow is All In, so we're just going to quickly do these predictions for All In. So far, we only have one match announced for the car for the zero. No, two matches now for 0 hour, even though the second match hasn't officially been announced on television, but was in a press
yeah.
conference. So let's just start with the easiest one. So for the FTW Championship, we have Jack Perry taking on a returning Hook who took some time off. Jack's Jack's retaining here. It's like I love Hook, but no, like you can't have him
Hopefully they
lose
make it. I hope they make it have it be a competitive match. But yeah, I'm. They've got this. Jack Perry has reinvigorated that whole thing. I think he wins this one as well. He's going to take it.
for
It has to
sure.
be.
Okay, this one's a little weird because it also plays at a park. What happens in the main event? Their second 0 hour match for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. You have challengers better than you, baby, taking on the
The
champion, the
Brochachos.
Bro. Man, I wish that's the secondary name we're calling it. The better than you, baby slash Bro Chachos taking on the champions of Aussie Open. I almost got into a fist fight with my friend. He's like, Aussie Open doesn't do it for me. I was like, they kind of suck as a tag team. I'm like, how dare you? But,
They haven't been books very strong, so it's hard for some people to understand that. But I think after thinking about it for a while here, as much as I don't want this to happen because I think the booking would be better if they had something else to do, I think Aussie Open's retaining.
I think so too.
And I think it's going to lead into an injury angle that's going to come up or something else for the match later in the night. But I would love for the two of them that are fighting later on to have those titles and deal with that. But they're not going to go down to ROH to defend them, so you've got to have Aussie Open winning.
And I'm like, I don't want to say because anytime Aussie Open's on my screen, like I love it because I'm a big fan of them in United Empire. But I feel like right now they're kind of just being lost in the shuffle a little bit.
They've had one good match, I think, like 3 or 4 weeks ago on ROH, and that's been about it.
Mm-hmm.
They like the Hardys match was as I described in the Dynamite review. That they had a match with the Hardys this week, and the Hardys got way more in during it than they should have, and
Mm-hmm.
made Austin Open look terrible. So it's kind of I don't know. Like I said, that's my prediction. Austin Open's going to win. They're going to take it. They're going to retain.
All right. And then we're going to get into the main card. So I'm going to work my way up from this list I have. So let's start with
Go
the
for it.
most chaotic thing possible. Let's figure out who the Stadium Stampede match. You have BCC and Proud and Powerful versus Best Friends, Eddie Kingston, and Penta. I swear to God, if there's a Penta demasking at some point this match, I may turn off my screen. I'm like, I'm done. And if it's by Claudio, I'm gonna
He'll
throw
be wearing a
things.
second. He'll be wearing a second mask.
Oh my gosh, please, because I just hope this match is camp because like Stadium Stampede is supposed to be camp and give me iconic moments like Sammy Guevara selling the fact he got ran over by a golf cart
Yeah.
violently, or MJF getting papers stapled to his head.
I wonder if like Claudio's going to come out wearing the mask he stole from Penta.
I'm not gonna lie, if he see, I don't want to say I'll be okay with it, but if he does that and then Penta gets retribution by beating Claudio's ass, like that would be the best moment of my life. This one's
I
tough.
think I think BCC is going to win this one.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of need to, and then obviously I think this sets up. whoever's gonna face Orange at all.
It's going to be Santana.
If it, I would be okay if it's anybody but Mox. Like
Yeah, no Mox, please.
I love Moxley, but he doesn't really need a title. Like
No, or if he does, he needs one of the top titles. Like,
and honestly, it's called the International Championship, and even though Orange Cassidy is a white boy, put it on the Puerto Ricans. Like I'm cool with that. That'd be fun. All right.
But yeah, so I think PCC and Proud and Powerful are winning that one.
I think so too. To me, this next one's a no-brainer. We have I'm trying to remember what the tag team name is we came up with them.
Oh, the hung lovers.
Yeah, so we have the Hung Lovers taking on Bullet Club Gold and Takeshita. So Kota, Kenny, and Hangman versus Jay White, Konosuke Takeshita, and Rock Hard Juice Robinson.
I'm going with the hung lovers on this one. I think the Golden Elite are pulling this one out because I think the Young Bucks are losing.
We'll get into that because I have opinions of that, but yeah, I mean, it's Kota Ibushi too. Like, you don't have him lose immediately since, they're looking to have AEW's looking to do stuff more with him.
Yeah. And Bullet Club Gold can absorb a loss, which could also set up a Jay White, Kenny Omega program going forward.
We all agree Juice is taking the pin, and that, listen, Bullet Club Gold and all of them, Jay, Juice, and the Guns are like a faction I did not know I wanted.
So good.
Put the Guns on commentary. This Gold.
Yes. Then they interrupt and they get involved. That'd be great.
It's so good. I love it so much. Then we get to the first match that changed because somebody didn't say something sooner. But the coffin match, we have Sting and Darby taking on Swerve, and replacing AR Fox is Christian Cage. Christian out here stepping up.
Well, Christian's got to get involved with, a faction that has somebody with a dead dad. That's what he has to do normally because it's just his thing.
His heel Christian is my favorite Christian, and there are some very questionable things he has said since, being this heel character, but I'm kind of here for it. I still think even with Christian in it, oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious if Christian got stuck in another coffin because Jungle Boy buried him when they had their coffin match. It would be so poetic if Darby did it to Christian, be like, Luchasaurus, you're on mine now.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think Sting doesn't lose on pay-per-view, so I think Sting and Darby are winning. I don't think Swerve is the one to go into the coffin because Swerve is still kind of hot, and Christian's out here. Christian, I think, is taking the coffin. Like, he's going inside.
I think they're going to put Swerve in because even though he shouldn't do it, and I wish that it was Swerve and Christian winning this, they kind of need the win.
Mm-hmm.
I think Swerve's going in the coffin.
Oh,
although, is it now because it's a tag team coffin match? I don't know. Do you have to put both opponents in the coffin?
Ooh, that is very true. Like, stack them on top of each other and just close it.
Exactly. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I think you're right. Darby Allin and Sting are winning this one. And I think Nick Wayne gets involved somehow.
Oh, for sure. Like, he's also big. Like, even though Nick Wayne is an American wrestler, that boy has wrestled around the world in so many promotions. Some even legends haven't even done that. But
no.
Okay.
He also had his Becky Lynch moment this week with the busted open nose. So he's full on.
Shout out to Mama Wayne too in the audience. She's great. I love.
What minivan did she drive?
Side tangent, like AEW, y'all need to have like some on a BTE, like have all the AEW moms just like get together or something like that. Sue and Mrs. like Nick Wayne's mom and like Sky Blue's mom.
No, it's like a support group like that.
Like Willow's mom.
Yeah, Sue's got to run this support group for like the AEW moms.
Oh my! Listen, the Elite and BTE. Like, if you're listening to this, please take this idea. Like, I want to see this. Get Mama Buck in there too if you want to. Like, because
oh my god, yes.
That'd be so good. All right, Chris versus Will. This is the first match I'm gonna dub as like that has the potential, if it is done right, to kind of steal the show for me because I want Chris. I want Chris to surprise me. Please. I'm like, I know Will has to change his style a little bit because it's Chris and he's not going up against somebody like Kenny or even Orange like he did at Forbidden Door last year.
Right.
But man, I was like, at first I was like, I'm not excited about this match. Like, I obviously you don't do Kenny versus Will here 3, but I was like, you could have picked somebody else. But I was like, Will, you saw me on this match during that promo. I was like, fine, we'll see. I
I'm
want,
just worried about
yeah,
I'm worried about the schmaz with Don Callis being there. Like Don Callis really doesn't need to be part of this feud right now, and he's going to be involved somehow.
he doesn't add
I'm very upset
anything
about
like he did at the Forbidden Door match or during the final contract signing. Like he doesn't do much. I picking Will to win on this one. I mean,
that. Same. We are literally picking the same people each time here. Like for us as a competition of getting this right, I don't know how we're not going to get that. Like this is crazy. I'm hoping this will
I
be match of the night, but I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be as good as Omega and him.
well, and we still have a couple other matches that potentially could be match of the night too, which is a beautiful thing. Like usually you can always tell when there's only going to be like one match of the night, but I love that there's a potential for a lot for different reasons. This one I'm conflicted with. So for the AEW World Trios Championship, you have the House of Black taking on the Acclaim and not daddy ass but badass Billy Gunn. I'm so torn. I'm picking House of Black, but I'm not gonna be upset if the Acclaimed win this one too, because I love them. But I feel like House of Black needs them right now, especially since they really haven't had that memorable of a run. But
Well,
man, this
I think they have, and I think they've brought more attention to it because it actually has rules now versus just what it was with when the elite had it, and there was just kind of like we needed titles to put on the elite. This gave it, they've given it meaning, which has been good. I think I agree with you. They also need to keep them, and I'm hoping in this match, if they don't do something in Stadium Stampede to do this as a tribute to Terry Funk, because Badass Billy Gunn's in the match, there's got to be a dumpster involved, like with a chainsaw or something in it.
okay. Or just like throw people in the dumpster. Like the Acclaimed already had a dumpster match against the Guns before, which by the way, that match was so much more better than it had absolutely any right to be.
Exactly. So this could be the kind of same thing. I think they haven't announced because I know there's still a House of Black rules that the Acclaimed have to like choose a stipulation, and they could choose a dumpster match. They could choose anything they wanted to. So I think it's going to be a better match than we think it is. But I have to think booking hat wise, the House of Black have got to retain in some respect. They can't let this go to the Acclaimed.
I mean, listen, like if this is going to be Billy Gunn's like actual final match, like then this is what a way to go in front of Wembley, like in front of all these
He's taking the
people.
pin. He's taking the pin.
Oh, he's taking the pin here. Also, if he decides he wants to do one more, I would love to see House of Black and Acclaimed and Billy Gunn feud for a little bit because I feel like we didn't really get to do that all that much. And yeah, but I'm picking House
Tried
of
to.
yeah, they tried to. I'm picking House of Black to retain. I think this has the potential to be very good. Like I didn't think the Acclaim versus Keith Lee and Swerve was going to be crazy, and then they made me believe, and I was mad they didn't switch the titles at the pay per view.
Right. Which wouldn't have mattered anyways, because then Keith Lee and Swerve couldn't work together anyway. Like that's been lost. No one knows what's going on with that.
No. Okay, so I understand why this next match is happening, but this is the match I'm very indifferent about for the real world championship. Punk versus Joe. Think it's going to be fun, but I'm so indifferent about this. I was like, I get that I was just like, Collision. I'm like, maybe visa issue, whatever. I love Joe. Don't get me wrong. If I'm going to be honest, I would have rather seen Punk versus Ricky Starks in this one,
Yeah.
especially with the momentum you have been building with Ricky on Collision. And I know Joe is a bigger name in wrestling history, but Punk versus Ricky, I think, would have been cool unless we're gonna get a rematch of some sort at All Out. But I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting to see where they go with this, but I'm with you on this one, and especially because they did the match on Collision already. That was like that ending of an era match, and Joe lost in a bad fashion, but he still lost. That was kind of I thought that was the capper that, and they could have saved it till now. And if they had done that and built this up for weeks and then done it, would have been easier to digest. I don't think Joe's winning again. I think, which is also terrible. He probably should win because he should keep that going there and have the one lost blemish. But I think he's losing again.
Yeah, I'm just like Punk to me doesn't need to win this match. Like he shouldn't. Like I
but the title's on the line.
I know. See, if this was a regular bash, I was like, okay, Punk can eat a loss here, it's fine. But because it's for the stupid, I don't want to say fake title, I was just like, we really need to address what's happening. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah,
Punk is winning, retaining the title. My poor Joe. I do hope that we get like a bunch of nope spots from Joe. Like then I'll be okay with it.
yes,
It's just like not one, give me a
yes.
bunch. It's
Give him a bunch.
okay. I have to gird my loins for this next one because I know I'm going to be out of my seat because I'm a big proponent of tag team wrestling for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. FTR versus the Young Bucks round 3. I'm gonna need a I'm gonna need a bunch of cigarettes after this match is over.
It better live up to it because it's been
Otherwise,
too far pushed at this point.
I'm gonna be so upset if it does not live to the hype.
I'm going with this. I was listening to Brian Zane's predictions about this, and he made me realize something that, like, for all the bluster and everything else about this, the Young Bucks have been very, very, very giving in AEW and like kind of lost a lot of their luster in certain respects, as EVP should. They've given a lot of themselves and lost a couple matches, or just been like drawn into the elite stuff, and so they're not their own unit anymore. They kind of need this win and to kind of like fully cement that heel turn. At the same time, FTR need the win as well because they'll never prove themselves up at that point, even though this is a 5-year-old feud. I'm torn. I think FTR is going to win. I think the Young Bucks should win.
See, this one is really, really hard too, because I'm thinking because this is the third match in the trilogy, and if I remember correctly, they're 1-1, right? Yeah.
They are 1-1. This is the rubber match.
Oh my god. See, it would be easier if it was like 2-0, like in a trilogy, but
What are you thinking, Mikey? What are you thinking?
so oof.
Mikey, we need an answer. You got to give us one. Come on.
I think hmm, I think this is going to be the first disagreement. I think I'm going to pick the Young Bucks to win here.
Nice. Nice disagreement. Let's see who gets this.
Honestly, regardless, wrestling fans are going to be winning no regardless cuz I'm hoping this match lives up to my expectations and it's not fair, but like if this ends up being on the same levels as the Briscoe FTR feud that we got last year, like this I will die happy. This one's also complicated too for a variety of reasons because the only women's match on this card for the AEW Women's World Championship, the Fatal Four-Way with Saraya, champion Hikaru Shida, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Miss Starlet Marilyn Monroe herself, Tony Storm. Yikes.
Hoping Jamie Hayter walks out with Britt Baker. We need that.
Like, if not anything, like, give me Mama Hater needs to come down because listen, I'm a Jamie Hater stan account. Like this one's hard as well because to me there's no right answer in this one.
No, there's not. Like they built it up so like anybody could really win this and it wouldn't really matter as much to the storyline part of it.
That I think that's the thing that kills me. Like on the one hand, I like that anybody could potentially walk away with champion, and that's cool. But the story of how we got here is not great.
Who are you picking, Mikey? Who are you picking?
So, hot take. I think we both can agree. I love Britt, but I don't want her to win this one because I'm like, why?
I think she's there to eat the pin.
Definitely. I can't see Tony getting her title back. I mean, I could, but you haven't really this one's tough.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to have Hikaru retain only because of the fact that I know transitional champion is such a dirty word in wrestling. And for me personally, I would hate for Hikaru to be that transitional only because of the fact that everyone on commentary keeps saying, you know, Hikaru Shida, the AEW Women's Champion, she actually can have fans to to defend this title against. So I was like, to me, like just in my inner workings, it would be kind of very shitty to take that title off Hikaru after her first reign was during the lockdown.
Pandemic era, yeah. It was tough.
And
she's the Drew McIntyre of AEW.
Oh my gosh.
I'll be with this here. So you're going Shida.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick my guns with Shida. And if I'm wrong, I'm okay with it. But I would love to see Sheeta go a little more before losing the title.
Here's my Booker hat. Here's what I'm thinking here. You speak of transitional champions. Because of the hometown pop, Saraya wins the title at Wembley, drops it back to Sheeta at All Out, and Sheeta then goes on a run.
Okay, like if that happens, I'll be cool with that.
So that's my pick. I'm picking Saraya to pick up the win here. And it breaks a little bit of the Outcast. There's a beat down or something else, or you play a couple weeks of that. And then the Outcast costs Saraya the title at All Out.
Which is hard because they only have a week to do that.
We'll have to see. But that's what I'm thinking. So that's what my pick is.
And then in the main event, because yes, this will be the main event because we've been told that it is going to be the main event, the AEW World Championship, MJF versus Adam Cole, the Brochachos taking each other on in a one-on-one match. Okay. This one's tough because it depends on what happens in that tag team match. But based on what we've gotten so far, I think I'm gonna say MJF retains, but Adam's gonna be the one to turn in this story. I don't think MJF is gonna turn on Adam. I think Adam turns on MJF. Or we postpone the turn and the Kingdom costs Adam Cole the title or something. And generic white guy number 5. I don't know. There's so many variables, but I can't see MJF losing the title here. If he does, like, that'd be cool, but I don't see him losing it here.
So here's the thing. If the turn's going to happen, it's going to have to be on 0 hour in order to set it up the right way with the type of, like, unless there's an injury angle that they can set up. I would love to see, as a booker, Adam Cole take the title, and then at All Out, you have a rematch with a time limit where they go the time limit again, and MJF asks for 5 more minutes and doesn't get it. And that's the turn.
Oh my gosh, that would be such great storytelling in a full circle moment.
But I think they're behind MJF enough, and they want him to continue to have this reign of terror and do this stuff. I think this is going to be out there. They're not going to have a title switch, but the injury is going to result in a count out. So MJF retains, but loses by count out. And so they have to do the match again at All Out, and that's where the turn happens.
Yes.
That's where I'm going with this. So it's not a clean victory, it's a dusty finish. MJF retains by losing by count out.
Give it to me, baby.
So that's my pick.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I got to get on Wrestle League and see if I can do these picks and start doing stuff with them.
Yeah. This was a lot.
Picks there.
Yep. And that is going to bring us to the end of another AEW Rampage Cleanup Crew review. Obviously, this went a little longer because we spent some time going into All In, but I figure
it's a go home show.
It's the go home show, and the Collision review hopefully isn't coming out until tomorrow.
During the event, that'd be hysterical.
If anything, I'll be like, "Hi guys, Collision was kind of fun. Here's the important things. This is just
Love it.
Because Sunday is going to be busy for everybody, but if you want to know what's about to go down, first and foremost, JVL, thank you so much for, guesting this week.
Thank you for having me this early in the morning.
Honestly, it is way too early for me, but it is, listen, the Lord's work of wrestling is never done, so yay. But if you like these long form reviews, you can check out all the other reviews here that we have at the Bi-Conics YouTube channel. Go make sure to check out all the stuff we uploaded this week. NXT was fire. Ring of Honor was fire. Promo Fest 2023 was interesting.
The review was better than the show.
Honestly, it really, really was. And then you can look forward to more goodness because All In is happening tomorrow. And a bunch of us are going to get together to review this show. It's going to be a busy Sunday. Listen, Bleacher Report, Tony Khan, Hunter, whoever wants to. It's just like, we're putting in the work, man. Like this is going to be good. You can also follow us all over the socials at BC WrestlePod. You can find me at the Pop Culture Geek. And you can find my lovely guest host, JVL.
At the JV Lexicon.
Heck yeah. So we're super excited. Thank you so much for tuning in for another Rampage episode. And
subscribe, share, comment, do all those fun things on our videos. Please, we need engagement. We love to talk to you.
yes, tell us what we're doing right, but also tell us what we're doing wrong too, because we love all the comments and we will address you with love and respect.
I'll address you with a lot of things.
Yes. And on that lovely note, thank you so much from all of us here at the Bi-Conics. Remember, take care of yourself, love one another. And until the next review, adios and sayonara, and see you next time.